Well, good morning. Happy New Year to everybody from the Meadow Craft Workshop. As you can see, Santa has been extremely generous this year, and I'm about to start unpacking and putting together my record power WG200, which is the 8-inch version of the WG250 by Record Power. Now you'll notice that the big box has got the machine in, and here are some lovely accessories that Santa seemed to have wanted to include to help me brush up all my chisels and planes and things which, to be quite frank, now I'm getting a little bit older, and after having had a mild stroke, I'm finding a little bit hard work to do it by hand. As you would expect, it comes incredibly well boxed and has, in many languages, because obviously this product is sold worldwide, a very useful guide. Having said that, I've spent probably more time looking at the how to use videos that are on YouTube, and worked on it as sort of University of YouTube. But I'll set that aside, and obviously I'll be referring to it when I start to assemble. So the things that are appearing in the box, which I would expect, is the tray with brass little couples to slot into the side of the machine here. Let's just move that out of the way. And being brass, obviously you're not going to run into rust problems. Well, I hope. I can't see them rusting. You get a tube of metal polish. I do use metal polish on leather wheels to finely hone my chisels and carving knives, but I think I may have a look at some of the grinding and polishing bars, you know, the wax impregnated bars, but obviously we'll try with the metal polish to see how we go on. Pulling out, this is the tool, and when I say it's universal, what I mean is that the circumference, the size of the bar, accepts tools, and as you'll be sliding tools up and down against the grinding wheel to produce the right angles and the fine adjustments, then obviously if it's universal, it's only holding metal against the grinding wheel. Now, I have to reach in. The machine comes with a little handle, so I'm going to attempt to lift it out. It's quite a heavy piece of kit, so you might want to be aware of that, and it is a tight fit, there's no question about it, which of course it should be. Just spotted another tool which I'll talk about, and release. The tools. As you can see, they're all extremely well packed. All to be recycled in. Let's remove this. This actually comes with the wheel already mounted. I have had an opportunity to see the more expensive 250, which was delivered. Well, Santa obviously got it all mixed up, and he delivered it by mistake, and I was in possession of the bigger version, and when I unboxed it just to check, I discovered that the wheel was actually separate in that one, but this one seems to be mounted already, along with the honing wheel, so it pretty well comes complete. I'll also set that aside. I'll just check that everything's still in vision. Yep, appears to be. Good. So, what have we got? We've got the machine itself, obviously with United Kingdom 3-pin plug already installed. It has a speed control. I think they call it a torque control. What it means is whether it's tightening up or not, and it regulates the spin of the wheel. Obviously, as it wears down, it gets smaller in circumference, and obviously you need to adjust the speed of the wheel. One of the things that have been noted in the videos is that people have remarked that this is on the wrong side, because you operate the machine from that side in the majority of cases. As you can see, you've got the adjustments for putting in the adjusting wheel and the fine-tuning wheels, and also from above again, so that you can raise and lower it. It just makes micro adjustments, which I'll talk about when I start operating it. It does obviously come with a very comprehensive instruction booklet, which I've already referred to, but here they've supplied you with a DVD, which, you know, probably very modern users, oh, we don't have DVD anymore. But most old timers like myself will have a DVD machine tucked away somewhere. So very useful. I think by the look of the pictures here, these are very much the sort of items you're going to see on YouTube, released by Record Power, which are extremely good visual guides as well. So what else have we got in the box? We've got this, which I already know from my research and looking at the videos. We have a grading stone. A grading stone, to the uninitiated, is just a way of turning the grit number, as it were, the roughness or smoothness of the wheel. It's a way of adjusting it, and it's done just by pure, let me just turn that around so you can see, just purely holding this abrasive stone square on the top, applying some pressure but not overly strong, and it's a rough side which will coarsen the wheel, and you will then cut a lot more metal. Hopefully, because my tools are regularly polished and regularly honed, I'm not going to use that too often. But if I get a really bad chip, or I've knocked out a big lump from a very fine chisel, then obviously I need to adjust the machine, adjust the chisel to, no, let's get it right, to adjust the machine to cut away more metal, to then allow me to turn the grading stone over, regrade the stone back to its very fine state, and then I'll be able to do the actual cutting, which will enable me to put a fine edge on a tool before honing. While we're mentioning honing, this is the leather honing wheel. Now, I don't want to spin it around too much because I'm pretty sure that inside the packaging, no, can't see it, I have noticed that some people have remarked that there is an internal regulator. No, there's not. It's just really possibly the speed adjustment here, which is going to turn the wheel. It's a friction, it's a revolving contact bar actually that rests against the inner lip here, which then turns the wheel, and it is removed obviously by just withdrawing the lock nut, and it just comes off. And there are locating pins inside this drive which is rubberized so it doesn't slip against the outer, and obviously makes for replacement. Now, a leather honing wheel is going to wear. However careful you are, there will always be the slip and the when you dig in, or if if your tool is against the spin, and it's going to ruin it. So they are available, they are renewable. I have seen some people suggesting that you could in fact cover this with leather yourself, but let's hope I don't mess it up too quickly and we're all right. There is a counter spin lock nut, which is again what you would expect, so it's naturally tightening itself so you don't have to install it over tight. Let's just move that aside for a minute. Let's see what we've got here. Now this is a very interesting first step in your tools. This is the straight edge for things like planes, when you just need a right angle type of grind. Well, it won't be a right angle, but at the right angle, but it's a straight edge. So that's very useful to have because it's often the basis of a lot of sharpening that you're going to be doing. Let's see what other toys we've got. Oh, it's like Christmas morning all over again. I hope everybody had a really nice Christmas. Now this probably is one of the essential tools when using a grinder at this quality, is a leveler. Now when you have a revolving wheel, however careful you are to move your tools across the wheel so that you have an even wear, you are inevitably, unfortunately, going to run into a situation where you will have a concave or even a convex surface after a time, and you need to level that out. And this is a very useful piece of kit, which in essence basically you move backwards and forwards very gently across the wheel, and this produces it has a little diamond edged cutting head which you adjust up and down with a hex thread bolt, and you start off with getting it absolutely level to the stone, and then you very gently move it across and back, and this puts a level, and then you may need to use your different surface resurfacing tools there. So I'm very pleased to see that. If you buy something like a tool mech or something, these actually come extra, and it rather mystifies me why you have to pay so much for your extra. This is the tool that it fits into, and here's the lockdown. That supports it. That goes backwards and forwards across the bar to produce the tool. So I'm very relieved and pleased to see that. Now the last package, which is the, I suppose you could say, this is where all the magic happens. Every knife and tool, and one of the things that hand sharpeners practice for years and years and years to get absolutely right. Now I have to say, it is a labour of love to learn how to do it, and it's one of the reasons I've moved to this being a mechanical option. As I've already mentioned, having had a stroke, I'm now noticing that I have a tremor in my hand, and this in itself makes it rather difficult to keep, through pure muscle memory, the exact angle that you need to achieve to get a good cutting edge. I'm sorry about all the rustling, but this is very well sealed in, so I don't want to scratch anything because it's a gauge. Like a demented hamster. There we go. Now, this, I'll maybe come a bit closer. I don't know if this is working. I have to sort of judge it. This is calibrated, and there's a little direction arrow there. And quite simply, by releasing that, you can judge on a blade or a chisel the angle that you're going to have to set the holders that are going to cut or going to hold the tool against the stone to make the right angle. And as you can see, this is also calibrated with angle numbers, and I will probably, once I get started, be going over this again, but in simple essence, you set the tool against that angle and you're reproducing against the stone the angle that you've already measured. Now, some people like to grind their chisels to a very specific angle, depending on really how you carve, and it is really very much a little bit of trial and error, but it's certainly worth setting up to start with the correct angle, and then you can readjust it to your own carving style. Well, I think that's probably going to be enough at this stage, because I'm now going to have a look at some of the extras that I've bought and just get a little impression of how they're all going to go together. And I will be adding some equipment here, which is a different shaped honing wheel for gouges and things like that. And there's also some more tools, because I've only got something which is actually at the moment going to produce the right angle for a straight edge blade. I will probably have to true up the wheel before I really start. They recommend that. It does look pretty square to me, just looking at it. Having said that, I can just see a hint of light. So it may be just slightly proud here. But, you know, obviously that's why you need to level it. So, enough is enough. I shall press the button for you and let's, as it were, move on.